on Criminal Procedure Code. Let us discuss the provisions in section 167 of the CRPC. 167 CRPC is very important section. Unless you understand it correctly, many as a magistrate, there is misinterpretation of this section. So, what it provides? Procedure when investigation cannot be completed in 24 hours. That means this section indirectly says that investigation should be completed within 24 hours. But here, if within 24 hours the investigation cannot be completed, then if the accused is arrested, he is to be produced before the nearest magistrate as required under section within 24 hours as required under section 57 of the Act. So in such case, when you to produce, who will produce? Whenever any person is arrested and detained in custody. Arrested means by police during investigation, a person is arrested and is detained in custody, and it appears that the investigation cannot be completed. Only appears that there is it appears that the investigation cannot be completed within 15 days, within 24 hours, fixed by section 57. A person is arrested and he is in custody, and it appears that the investigation cannot be completed within 24 hours as provided in section 57, and there are grounds for believing the accusation or information is well founded. It is very important. When that person is to be produced before the magistrate, it appears that the investigation cannot be completed within 24 hours, and not only that, and there are grounds for believing that the accusation or information is well founded, then who will forward the accused to the magistrate? The officer at the police station or the police officer making the investigation. Either officer in charge of police station or the police officer who is conducting investigation. If it's not below the rank of sub-inspector, that means investigating officer must not be below the rank. If assistant sub-inspector of police is investigating the case, you will not forward the accused to the magistrate. Only the officer in charge of the police station, and in case the investigating officer who is in the rank of sub-inspector and above, then the officer in charge of the police station or police officer making the investigation, if it is not below the rank of sub-inspector, shall forthwith transmit to the nearest judicial magistrate a copy of the entries in the diary hereinafter prescribed. Copy of the case diary. Along with copy of the case diary, the accused will be produced, forwarded to the nearest judicial magistrate. Sometimes, in many cases, I have seen the case diary, copy of the case diary is not sent. But section 167 says, when the accused is to be forwarded to the nearest judicial magistrate, he will be forwarded along with the copies of the case diary. You might have come across that CD is not received, so some bail is postponed, because law requires that whenever the accused is to produce, is to be forwarded to the nearest judicial magistrate by the officer in charge of the police station or the investigating officer if he is sub-inspector and above rank and is not below the rank of sub-inspector, then he will forward the accused along with, at the time of forwarding the accused, the copies of the case diary will be sent to the nearest magistrate. Then when will be forwarded? Will be forwarded when investigation cannot be completed within 24 hours and there is the accusation or the information against the accused is well founded. How well founded? That has not been mentioned. Well founded means some evidence must be there. Some witnesses have implicated the accused. Then the accusation is well founded. Then you will simply, as because somebody is arrested without the examining the statement, witness, he cannot be forwarded because the accusation or the information is well founded. Then only will be forwarded. The magistrate to whom an accused person is forwarded under this section may, whether he has or has no jurisdiction to try the case, even is to be forwarded to whom? Not to the accused magistrate, but to the nearest judicial magistrate. Then the magistrate before whom the accused is produced, whether he has jurisdiction to try the case or not. Then, from time to time, authorize the detention of the accused in such custody as such magistrate thinks fit. As such magistrate, if he thinks fit, he will authorize the detention of the accused in such custody. Here, police custody is not there. Sometimes this detention is given under the police custody. For a term not exceeding 15 days in the whole. That means in police custody, the accused cannot be detained after production for a period of 15 days as a whole. And if he has no jurisdiction, suppose that magistrate has no jurisdiction to try the case or to commit the case and considers that the further detention unnecessary, he may order the accused to be forwarded to a magistrate having such jurisdiction. He will pass order that the accused will be forwarded before the magistrate having jurisdiction, provided that the magistrate may authorize the detention of the accused person otherwise than in the custody of the police. Beyond the period of 15 days. But it provides beyond the period. Only for total period of police custody can be only total 15 days. If he is satisfied that adequate grounds exist, again, then well founded. Accusation information is well founded, then is forwarded. And if the magistrate finds that there are adequate grounds exist in doing so, there are grounds for doing so, but no, then he will say, but no magistrate shall authorize the detention of the accused person in custody under this paragraph for a total period exceeding, this is 120 days in Odisha and 90 days, because when the investigation related to an offence punishable death, imprisonment for life or imprisonment for a term not less than 10 years, here it has been, in the Odisha it has been amended. 60 days where the investigation relates to any other offence, and on the expiry of the said period of 120 days, or that is in Odisha 120 days or 60 days as the case may be, the accused person shall be released on bail. Because the accused gets a statutory right to be released on bail if the investigation is not completed within the time fixed as per section 167 of the CRPC. What it says, if punishable with death or imprisonment, right, that is 120 days and 60 days in any other case, the accused gets a right to be released on bail. In this connection, there are various case laws. Sometimes if the accused has not applied for bail, after expiry of the 120 days or 60 days, the case may be, and in the meantime, charge sheet is submitted, his right is gone. The accused must apply for bail. That is, if the investigation is not completed within 120 days, in the state of Odisha, it has been, though it is 90 days in originally in the CRPC, but it has been amended in the state of Odisha 120 days. So, if the offence is punishable with death or imprisonment for life, and 60 days in any other offences, then that person shall be released on bail and shall be deemed to be released under provision of chapter 33 for the purpose of this chapter. In the recently you might have come across a decision of the Honorable Supreme Court that once when an accused is released on default of the prosecution in filing charge sheet within the stipulated time, and he is released on bail, there cannot be any condition that after filing of charge sheet, he will be again released on bail, he will be again arrested. He cannot be again arrested as because charge sheet is filed. So, that is a statutory right. No magistrate shall authorize detention of the accused in custody of the police under this section unless the accused is produced before him in person for detaining in judicial custody. We say judicial custody. When the accused is sent to jail, that is called judicial custody. When the accused is kept in custody of the police, that is called police custody. So total police custody, maybe total period must be 15 days as a whole. But when the accused will be sent to judicial custody, similarly, that is, no magistrate shall authorize detention of the accused in custody of the police under this section. Only the accused is produced before him in person. If that person is not produced for the first time, and subsequently every time till the accused remains in the custody of the police. But the magistrate may extend further detention in judicial custody on production of the accused, either in person or through the medium of electronic video linkage, either in person or electronic video linkage. So here it can be that is provided. No magistrate of the second class not specially empowered in the behalf by the High Court shall authorize detention in custody of the police. So magistrate second class cannot pass order for keeping the for detention of the accused in police custody. No magistrate shall authorize detention of the accused in custody of the person under the section unless the accused is produced before in person for the first time. Only for the first time he must be produced, then the accused may be detained in police custody, and subsequently every time till the accused remains in the custody of the police till the time. But the magistrate may extend further detention in judicial custody on production of the judicial custody, that is also for a period of 15 days that happens. Magistrate. But in each time, in each occasion, for extension of the period of this remand of judicial remand, the accused must be produced. If the accused is not produced, he may be produced to medium of electronic video linkage. Without producing the accused, if he is remanded to, he is sent to the judicial custody period is extended, that is illegal. He must be produced physically. If it is not, then through video linkage. Explanation. For the avoidance of doubt, it is hereby declared that notwithstanding the expiry of the period specified in paragraph A, this accused shall be detained in custody so long as he does not furnish bail. Again, it has been clarified because a person has a statutory right to go on bail for non-filing of charge sheet within the stipulated time of 120 days or 60 days. Still, if he doesn't furnish bail bond, he will not be released from the custody. If only a question arises whether an accused person was produced before the magistrate as required under clause B, the production of the accused person may be proved by the signature. Sometimes a dispute comes on which date the accused was sent to judicial custody. Sent to judicial custody. When, on which date? Then, on which date the accused was kept in judicial custody? What it says? The production of the accused person may be proved by his signature. On the date when, by the signature of the accused, will prove that he had been produced before the magistrate, or the order authorizing detention, or by the order certified by the magistrate as the production of the accused. If the magistrate has also certified that on particular date the accused is produced, then that will be proved that on that day that whether accused person was produced before the magistrate, because the magistrate cannot remand the accused to judicial custody unless the accused is produced before him. So how that is proved? If a dispute comes whether the accused had been produced or not, the signature of the accused in the order sheet will prove that he had been produced, or if the magistrate had certified in the order that the accused had been produced, that will prove. Provided further that in case of women under 18 years of age, the detention shall be authorized to be in the custody of a remand home or recognized social institution. Because this is Juvenile Justice Act is now applicable, but here provided further that in case of woman under 18 years of age, if he is produced, that his or detention will be in the custody of a remand home or recognized social institution. 2A provides notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1. What subsection 1 provides? Subsection 1 is what? Within 24 hours it is investigation is not completed, and the accusation or the information is well founded, then officer in charge of the police station or the investigating officer will what forward the accused to the magistrate along with the case, copy of the case diary. So such as notwithstanding anything contained before the judicial magistrate, or subsection 2 what will provides that the judicial magistrate will only pass order for detention of the accused in custody of the police or in jail, notwithstanding the contained in subsection 1, subsection 2, the officer in charge of the police station or the police officer making the investigation is not below the rank of sub-inspector, may where a judicial magistrate is not available. Suppose judicial magistrate is not available, transmit to the nearest executive magistrate. You are forwarding what is not there, transmit to the nearest magistrate on whom the person powers of the judicial magistrate or metropolitan magistrates have been conferred. As you know, on the power on the that the judicial magistrate power may be conferred by the state government, by the High Court, on one executive magistrate to do some emergency duties. So if such power has been conferred on an executive magistrate, the powers of judicial magistrate or metropolitan magistrate, and no judicial magistrate is available, then such accused will be forwarded to such magistrate, and shall at the same time forward the accused to such executive magistrate, and thereupon such executive magistrate may, for reason to be recorded in writing, authorize the detention of the accused person in such custody as he may think fit for a term not exceeding 7 days. The executive magistrate can only pass order for detention of the accused for a period of 7 days in the aggregate, and on the expiry of the period of detention so authorized, period of 7 days, the accused person shall be released on bail, except where an order for further detention of the accused person has been made by a magistrate competent to make such order. And where an order for such further detention is made, the period during which the accused person was detained in custody under the order made by the executive magistrate under this subsection shall be taken into account in computing the period specified in paragraph A of the provision of subsection 2. That is, for the getting the statutory right of bail, the period of detention of the accused as per the order of the executive magistrate, that is also to be counted. Provided that before the expiry of the period aforesaid, the accused magistrate shall transmit to the nearest judicial. Before 7 days, transmit the accused to the nearest judicial magistrate, the records of the case, together with a copy of the entries in the diary relating to the case. Copies of the, because that is division, which was transmitted to him by the officer in charge of the police station or the police officer making the investigation as the case may be. A magistrate authorizing under this section detention in the custody of the police shall record his reason for so doing. Again, it is when the magistrate authorizes the detention of the accused in police custody, he must record the reason why he is passing order for detention of the accused in police custody. Any magistrate other than the chief judicial magistrate making such order means authorizing the detention of the accused police custody. In any magistrate, if a second class magistrate cannot pass order, any magistrate who other than the chief judicial magistrate making such order shall forward a copy of his order with his reasons for making it to the chief judicial magistrate, why he gave the accused in police custody. If in any case triable by a magistrate as a summons case, suppose it is very important, if a case is triable as a summons case, the investigation is not concluded within a period of 6 months. You should remember. Like, if the investigation is not completed within a period of 120 days, if the offence is punishable with death or imprisonment for life, and the accused is in custody, then he shall be released on bail. In any other case, if it has not been completed within 60 days, then the accused shall be released on. Similarly, if in a summons case, if in any case by the which is triable by a magistrate as a summons case, the investigation is not completed within a period of 6 months from the date on which the accused was arrested. If any of the accused was arrested from the date of arrest of the accused, if that is a summons case and the investigation is not completed, then the magistrate shall make an order stopping further investigation. It is very important. The investigation will be stopped, that means case will be closed. So in a summons case, if the accused is arrested, if the accused has not been arrested, then subsection 5 will not be applicable. Once the accused has been arrested from the date of arrest, and if the investigation is not completed in a summons case, then the magistrate shall order for stopping of further investigation of the case into the offence. Only the officer making the investigation satisfy the magistrate that for special reason and in the interest of justice, the continuation of the investigation beyond the period of 6 months is necessary. If the investigation officer does not that is satisfy the magistrate that the investigation is required, if further investigation is required, is necessary, if the investigation is not completed within 6 months from the date of arrest of the accused in a summons case, then the further investigation will be stopped. Where any order stopping further investigation into an offence has been made under subsection, suppose the magistrate has passed an order stopping the further investigation of the case for the reason that it is a summons case and the investigation was not completed within 6 months from the date of arrest of the accused. In such case, the session judge may, if he is satisfied on an application made to him or otherwise, either on application or otherwise or so much also, that further investigation into the offence ought to be made. Satisfied that further investigation ought to be made, and then in such case, vacate the order made under subsection 5 and direct further investigation to be made into the offence subject to such direction with regard to bail and other matter as he may specify. So here, subsection 5, 167(5), what it provides? That accused is arrested and the case is triable as a summons case, that is a summons case, and investigation is not completed within 6 months, and the investigating officer doesn't satisfy the magistrate that further investigation is necessary. In such case, the magistrate may pass order that the further investigation be stopped. When such further order has been passed by the magistrate, then the session judge, either on the application of the prosecution or on otherwise, may, if he thinks fit, otherwise, if he thinks fit that further investigation to the offence ought to have been made, ought to be made, then he may vacate the order, then he vacate the order of the magistrate and direct the completion of the investigation, and with regard to bail and other, and subject to such direction, if bail is there, bail will continue, other matters as he may specify. In section 167, sometimes a difficulty arises, that is, the remand of the accused by the magistrate to the judicial must not exceed 15 days at a time. That is, within 15 days, it will be produced. In every 15 days, it will be produced. Because 16 days remand cannot be given to the judicial remand. Only not exceeding 15 days as attested right time. The magistrate may authorize the detention of the accused person otherwise than in such custody of the police beyond the period of 15 days, if he is satisfied that adequate grounds exist for doing so. So, adequate grounds exist, but no magistrate shall authorize the detention of the accused person in custody under this paragraph for a period not exceeding as provided in subsection 2. So, always 15 days sometimes creates a confusion. You should remember that the accused will be produced. If investigation is not completed within 24 hours, then the accused will be remanded either to judicial custody or police custody. Such a provision is there. If the police makes a prayer, total police custody will not exceed 15 days. So then similarly, while judicial custody is also, that will not be beyond 15 days, only 15 days, but further beyond 15 days, this judicial custody can be given, but not at a time, must not be more than 15 days. The magistrate to whom an accused person is forwarded, because subsection 2 we go through it. The magistrate to whom an accused person is forwarded under this section may, whether he has or has no jurisdiction to try the case, from to time authorize the detention of you in such custody. Such custody is not there, whether it may be judicial custody or police custody. As such, magistrate thinks fit for a term not exceeding 15 days in the whole. So that means there must be the detention in custody, magistrate will detain not exceeding 15 days in the whole. And if he has no jurisdiction, that is there. But provided the magistrate may authorize the detention of the accused person other than in the custody of the police beyond the period of 15 days, this shows that police custody can be given only up to 15 days as per the provisions of 167(2)(a) of the CRPC. Total beyond the period of 15 days. So now this is 167. 168, you go through the provisions of 168. Report of investigation by subordinate police officer. When any subordinate police officer has made any investigation on this chapter, he shall report the result of such investigation to the officer in charge of the police station. If a subordinate police officer, assistant sub-inspector police or sub-inspector police has conducted an investigation, he will report the result of such investigation to the officer in charge of the police station. 169, release of accused when evidence deficient. If upon an investigation under this chapter, if investigation is completed, it appears to the officer in charge of the police station that there is not sufficient evidence or reasonable ground of suspicion to justify. Because 167 provides, if the officer in charge police station finds sufficient evidence, that there are ground sufficient evidence, then will forward. What is 169 provides, if upon an investigation on this chapter, it appears to the officer in charge of the police station that there is not sufficient evidence or reasonable ground of suspicion to justify the forwarding of the accused, to the magistrate, such officer shall, if such person is in custody, if that person has been arrested, release him on is executing a bond with or without sureties. That is due to deficient evidence, due to want of evidence. If after the investigation, if it is found a person has been arrested, after investigation, the police officer finds no evidence, sufficient evidence is not there, then we will release that arrested person on bail, either with surety or without surety. As such officer may direct to appear, if and also direct to appear so required before a magistrate, empowered to take cognizance of the offence. Either with bail, with the direction he will appear before the magistrate competent to take cognizance of the offence on police report and to try the case or commit him to trial. 170, case to be sent to magistrate when evidence is sufficient. If upon an investigation under this chapter, it appears to the officer in charge of the police station that there is sufficient evidence or reasonable ground as aforesaid. Sufficient evidence is there, reasonable grounds are there, such officer shall forward the accused under custody to the magistrate empowered to take cognizance of the offence upon a police report and to try the accused or commit him to trial, or if the offence is bailable and the accused is able to give security. If the offence is bailable, accused is able to give security, shall take security from him for his appearance before such magistrate on a day fixed and for his attendance from day to day before such magistrate until otherwise directed. When the officer in charge of police station forwards an accused person to a magistrate or takes security for his appearance before such magistrate under this section, he shall send to such magistrate any weapon offence is found, weapon or other article which it may be necessary to produce before him. If any article has been seized, any weapon has been seized, that will also be sent. As per which provision? That is as per section 170 of the CRPC, and shall require the complainant, if any, and so many of the person who appear to such officer to be acquainted with the facts of this, either require the complainant and the witnesses who are acquainted with the facts of the case to furnish, to execute a bond to appear before such magistrate, or thereby directed and prosecute or give evidence as the case may be in the manner of charge against the accused. So here section 170 clause 2 provides that when the officer in charge forwards the accused to the magistrate or takes security for his appearance if it is a valuable offence, and if any weapon of offence has been seized or anything has been seized, and it is then he will produce the same. He will send the same to the send the same to the magistrate. He may also take bond from the complainant and the witnesses for their appearance before the concerned magistrate whenever required. If the court of the Chief Judicial Magistrate is mentioned in the bond, suppose bond has been taken and the bail bond, it has been mentioned that he will appear before the court of Chief Judicial Magistrate. Why Chief Judicial Magistrate? In our state, the initial cognizance taking magistrate is the sub-regional magistrate. But in other states, the cognizance taking magistrate is the Chief Judicial Magistrate. So what if the court of Chief Judicial Magistrate mentioned in the bond, if it has been mentioned in the bond that he will appear before the court of Chief Judicial Magistrate, such court shall be held to be include any court to which such magistrate may refer the case for inquiry. If to whichever magistrate the case is referred, he will also appear before that court as per the bond. Or tried, provided reasonable notice of such reference is given to such complainant or person. The officer in whose presence the bond is executed shall deliver a copy thereof to one of the persons who executed it. That means the bond taken from the complainant and the witnesses who are acquainted with the facts and circumstances of the case, if bonds are taken by the officer in charge of the police station or for their attendance before the magistrate whenever required, then that copy of that bond will be furnished to the person who has executed it and shall then send to the magistrate the original with the original bond will be sent. 171. Complainant witness not to be required to accompany police officer and not to be subject to restraint. This is provision previously, because for complete separation, that is, that no police officer, to prevent the police officer to pursue any witness or the complainant to depose in a case, or to see that the case ends in conviction, and if to prevent them to give any briefing or any that is persuasion to the complainant and the witnesses to depose in a case. Such a provision is there. Complainant and witness not to be required to accompany police officer. Complainant and witness will not be asked to accompany with the police officer and not to be subject to restraint. No complainant or witness on his way to any court, when a complainant is on his way to court or the witness is way to court, shall be required to accompany a police officer. He cannot be required that he should go to the court along with a police officer, accompany to the police officer, or shall be subject to unnecessary restraint or inconvenience. He cannot be restrained or inconvenience, or required to give any security for his appearance other than his own bond. Own bond is there, no security will be given. Provided that if any complainant or witness refuses to attend or to execute a bond as directed in section 170. As per section 170, when the officer in charge of the police station may take bond from the complainant and the witnesses for their attendance in court. If any complainant or witness refuses to attend court or furnish a bond, the officer in charge of the police station may forward him in custody to the magistrate. Then in such case, the officer in charge of the police station can arrest such complainant or witness and forward him to custody to the magistrate, who may detain him in custody until he executes such bond. Who may detain such person in custody until that person executes bond, until the hearing of the case is completed. 172. Diary of proceeding in investigation. It is called case diary. What is diary? Sometimes popularly known case diary. Every police officer making an investigation under the criminal procedure code, under this chapter, shall day by day enter his proceeding in the investigation in a diary. Day by day means what? On each day, what type of investigation, what investigation he done, what are the investigation, what investigation did, whom he examined, the day-to-day work in the investigation, day-to-day progress in the investigation, that must be recorded in the case diary. What it says, every police officer making an investigation under this chapter shall day by day enter his proceedings. Enter his proceedings means whatever investigation he has done in the investigation in a diary, setting forth what in the diary, what is the proceeding, what is day-to-day proceeding in the investigation, how it is to be mentioned, setting for the time at which the information reached him, when the information reached, that must be mentioned in the station diary, case diary. The time at which he began, in the case diary he will mention the time when he began the investigation and closed the investigation. Each day, that when he began the investigation and he closed the investigation. And the place or places visited by him. In the case diary he will also mention the place and places visited by him. And a statement of the circumstances ascertained through the investigation. Whatever circumstances, whatever he ascertained during the investigation, that are to be mentioned in the case diary. What section 72 says? Day by day, the case diary, the proceeding of the investigation, proceedings in the investigation must be recorded in the case diary, mentioning how the time when the information was received, and at the time when the investigation started, the time when the investigation was completed, the place and places which the investigating officer visited. The statement of witnesses recorded during the course of investigation under section 161 shall be inserted in the case diary. Again, a direction is there. It will be separately recorded. That is in 161 statement. But here, even again 1A says, the statement of witness recorded during the course of investigation under section 160 shall be inserted in the case diary. It will be inserted. It will be stated in the case diary. But it will not be recorded in the case diary. Statement 161, if you go to the provisions of section 161, you go to provisions of 161 of the CRPC, what it provides? What section 161 of the CRPC provides? That any police officer making an investigation under this chapter, or any police officer not below such rank and the state government by general or special law, prescribed in this sphere, acting on the requisition of such officer, may examine orally any person supposed to be acquainted with the facts and circumstances of the case. This 161. The person shall be bound to answer truly all questions relating to such case put to him by such officer, other than question the answer to which would have tendency to expose him to criminal charge or penalty. The police officer may reduce into writing any statement going to be in the course of examination under this section, and if does so, he shall make a separate and true record of the statement of each such person whose statement he records. At the time of recording of the 161 statement, it will be recorded separately. But here in section 172 provides the statement of witnesses recorded during the course of investigation under section 161 shall be inserted in the diary. Inserted, that will be narrated in the diary. That will be mentioned in the diary. So recording must be in separately. The diary referred to in subsection 1 shall be a volume and duly paginated. That must be in a volume. Paginated means page marked. The diary must be in a volume and must be paginated. Any criminal court may send for the police diaries of a case under inquiry or trial in such court, and may use such diaries not as evidence in the case but to aid in such inquiry or trial. So, whether case diary can be called for? You might have heard in many cases when bail is moved, the case is kept adjourned, calling for the case diary by the magistrate, or even the High Court or the session judges also pass order, call for the case diary and put up on such and such date for hearing and bail petition. Such a provision, why? That is available. The court can call for the case diary, not to use that case diary as evidence, but to aid the court for inquiry or trial. This is subsection 2 of section 172. Any criminal court may send for the police diaries of a case under inquiry or trial in such court. When a case is under inquiry or trial, any court may call for that case diary and may use such diaries not as evidence in the case, but to aid it in such inquiry or trial. Neither the accused nor his agents shall be entitled to call for such diaries. So now if a question is put, can the accused or his agent can call for, is entitled to call for the case diary? The answer is no. Neither the accused nor his agent shall be entitled to call for such diary, nor shall he or they be entitled to see them. The accused or his agent means an advocate. Neither the accused nor the agent is entitled to see it merely because they are referred by the court, but because court can call for the case diary only for aid during inquiry or trial. But not to use it as evidence. Neither the accused nor his agent is entitled to call for the case diary, nor can see this merely because it is referred by. But if they are used by the police officer who made them to refer his memory, only in one case, when the case diary is referred by the police officer while giving evidence to repress his memory, or if the court uses them for the purpose of contradicting such police officer. Second, when the court uses that case diary for the purpose of contradicting such police officer, the provision of section 161 or 145 as the case may be of the Evidence Act shall apply. That means in such case the accused can use the case diary for the purpose of contradicting witness or as per section 125. So if a question comes, can the accused call for the case diary? Is entitled to see the case diary? Or the advocate for the accused is entitled to see the case diary? This answer 172, clause 3 provides, neither the accused nor his agent is entitled to call for the case diary. Similarly, neither the accused nor his agent, means the advocate, cannot refer the case diary merely because the court is referring the case diary. But when the police officer, while under his examination, when he is during his examination refers the case diary for his refreshing memory, or then it is used and the court uses, not the other side, the prosecution uses, court uses as the case diary for the purpose of contradicting such police officer, only such police officer who is examined. Court uses the case diary for the purpose of contradicting police officer. Then the provision of section 161 or section 145, the case may be of the Evidence Act, shall apply. What section 161 or 145 of the Evidence Act? You go through it, that is section 145 of the Evidence Act. What it provides? That contradicting previous statement, 145, that is cross-examination as to previous statement in writing. A witness may be cross-examined. That means court uses the case diary to contradict the police officer. Then in such case, a witness may be cross-examined. That is, accused can cross-examine as to previous statement made by him in writing, or reduced to into writing, if the investigating officer reduced into writing, and relevant to matters in question, without such writing being shown to him or being proved. But if it is intended to contradict him by the writing, his attendance must be put. The writing can be proved, we call to those part of it which are to be used for the purpose of contradicting him. Now 161, that is testimony testimony to facts stated in document mentioned in section 151, that is refreshing memory. Witness may also testify to facts mentioned in any such document which has been refreshed in memory. In section 1, although he has no specific recollection of the facts themselves, if he is sure that the facts were correctly recorded in such case. What is this? This is once the court uses the case diary to contradict the police officer, then in such case the accused can use the same as per the provisions of section 161 and 145 of the Evidence Act. You must be clear. What is case diary? This is section 170. If a question is put, what is case diary? The day-to-day investigation, day-to-day proceeding of the investigation must be mentioned by the investigating officer, is to be mentioned by the investigation of the case diary. In the case diary, we will set forth the time when the information was received, the time when the investigation commenced on that day, and the time when which the investigation was completed. And whatever circumstance, and also it will contain the statements of the circumstances ascertained through such investigation. Then, statement of the witness recorded under section 161 of the CRP will be inserted, not will be recorded, will be inserted in the case diary. The diary referred to in subsection 1 shall be volume and duly paginated. Any criminal court may send for the police diaries of a case under inquiry or trial in such court, and may use such diaries not as evidence in the case, but to aid in such inquiry or trial. Neither the accused nor his agent shall be entitled to call for such diary. Should remember, neither the accused nor his agent can also refer that diary. They see that use that diary to see that, only see, as because the same is referred. When the accused and the agent of the accused, that is advocate, can see, when the court uses the same to contradict that police officer, or that police officer refer that case diary to refresh his memory, then only the accused and his advocate or his advocate can use that case diary for, as per the provisions of 161 or 145 of the Evidence Act. It is very, very important provision, 172. Still, if you have any doubt, you go through the provisions meticulously, then you try to understand and be fundamentally good. Thank you.